Let me tell you about one of the most glamorous screwball comedies made in the 1930s as Universal was crumbling all around it. My Man Godfrey was tossing punchlines, throwing cocktails, and making the rich look like fools, all the while the studio behind it was being ripped from the hands of the family that built it. From my family. And that's why I can't just watch My Man Godfrey as some funny rom-com. It's a film about class disparity, made inside a studio actively losing control to bankers, and a wild comedy made in the middle of the Great Depression. And somehow it became one of Universal's most acclaimed films of the decade. So let's go behind the scenes of My Man Godfrey. What was going on at Universal at the time? Why this movie struck such a chord with audiences, and how the new Universal moved forward with a film that felt like the old Universal at heart. I'm Antonia Carlotta, and this is Universally Me, the channel for all things Universal. My family started Universal Studios, and they made My Man Godfrey. Well, half of it anyhow. Let's set the stage. My uncle Carole Lemmle was a German immigrant who found the American dream when he got pretty lucky and entered the film business in the early 1900s. He started Universal in 1912, and in many ways, Universal was a family business. Uncle Carole built it from the ground up, hiring friends and family all around him. One of the greatest examples of this is Uncle Carle's son, Junior. Junior was raised on the Universal lot from the time he was a little kid, and he was being taught the business his entire life so he could one day take it over. And that's exactly what he did at 21 years old when his dad named him head of production. When Uncle Carole started Universal and when he was in charge, he was very frugal. He wanted to make a lot of movies each year on a much smaller budget, so his films were low risk, low reward. When Junior took over, he had different ideas. He was young, ambitious, daring. He wanted to make fewer movies each year on a much bigger budget, bigger gambles. But he wanted to make prestige films and art. He wanted his movies to mean something. He made some great gambles. He made All Quiet on the Western Front. He was the driving force behind the Universal Monster movies, and he made Imitation of Life. These movies had a message, they centered outsiders, and they trusted the audience to feel something complicated. Each film was a risk, but so many of them paid off. Then we get to 1936 and Showboat, Junior's biggest gamble of all that didn't pay off. Showboat was an expensive, lavish production that was pushing the studio to its breaking point. It was going over time, over budget, but Junior really wanted to see it through. He convinced his dad to take out a loan, Universal's very first loan ever, and they essentially put up the studio as collateral. They got $750,000 from a company called Standard Capital. They had 90 days to pay it back, or Standard Capital had the option to buy Universal. And unfortunately, they couldn't get the movie out on time, and Standard Capital made good on the terms of the loan. And just like that, the Laemmle era at Universal was over. And right in the middle of that is My Man Godfrey, a movie that started production under my family, but was released under the new Universal. They were actually 2 weeks into filming when all of this went down. But that means all the creative decisions, the casting, the tone, the themes, the worldview, all of that was Junior Lemmle's work. But when the new Universal came in, they took his name off of everything and got all the credit for the release. But it really is a Lemmle film in spirit. My Man Godfrey is a screwball comedy, but it's also a class satire set during the Great Depression. It opens with wealthy socialites treating homeless men as props in a scavenger hunt joke. The rich are childish, insulated, grotesque. But Godfrey, the man they mock, he's not so foolish or broken after all. Universal under my family had always sided with the outsiders or the misunderstood. And I think this came partly from my Uncle Carle's strong sense of justice and also from Junior's own anxieties and feelings of being misunderstood. This sounds kind of strange to say, but there are real ways that My Man Godfrey belongs to the same emotional lineage as the Universal monsters. The tone, the genre, of course, are like 100% different, but they both bring in social commentary, good versus evil, the little guy versus the big guy. And interestingly enough, My Man Godfrey actually has brief references to both Frankenstein and Showboat, which feels kind of meta and modern. But that moral alignment feeling for the little guy, that's very Lemmle. Now, because I love My Man Godfrey so much, I am so happy this movie got made when it did, because I think if it started production even just a few months later, we never would have had this movie. The new Universal would not have greenlit My Man Godfrey. After the takeover, Universal became more cautious. They tightened budgets, they were more risk averse, they really leaned into reliable hits and lighter fare. This is the time when stars like Deanna Durbin came up. And the new Universal was now owned by bankers, financiers, investors. They weren't going to greenlight a film that critiqued wealth and wealthy people and made them look like fools, which is kind of exactly what My Man Godfrey did. When My Man Godfrey came out, it struck a chord with people. Audiences in 1936 were still living in the aftershocks of the Depression. Unemployment, housing insecurity, wounded pride. The rich people in the film are making fun of the forgotten man, sneering at him or judging him. But in real life, he was someone audiences knew or related to. My Man Godfrey found a way to make the story comedic, but not where poor people were the joke. It was the rich who were behaving badly, and dignity wasn't tied to money, maybe more to purpose. But that message was really powerful, really validating. Another part of what makes My Man Godfrey so fantastic is its stars. William Powell's Godfrey is intelligent, understated, and his timing is perfect. Carole Lombard is chaotic, she's sweet, she's so emotionally honest. And they play off each other so well and have such great chemistry, which makes sense as they had actually been married from 1931 to 1933 and stayed lifelong friends. And I love the fact that William Powell only agreed to even be in My Man Godfrey if Carole Lombard got the role of Irene. My Man Godfrey went on to receive 6 Academy Award nominations: Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It didn't win any, but that's neither here or there. And it also is, I think, one of only 2 films in all of history to be nominated for all 4 acting categories, but not get a nomination for Best Picture. Don't ask me how that happened. But despite all this, despite it literally being a Lemmle film until after it started filming, Carl Lemmle and Junior Lemmle weren't around to get any of the recognition. My Man Godfrey was yet another validation of Junior's ethos, but all the rewards went to the new Universal. But for my Lemmle family, for my heart, My Man Godfrey is a beautiful final film. It's a hilarious screwball comedy, it's a romantic classic, it's a Great Depression artifact, and it also represents the final moment, definitely for the era, maybe ever, when Universal films were guided by art and empathy rather than profit or efficiency. After My Man Godfrey, Universal would survive, even thrive, but it would never be the same studio the Lemmles built. In the comments, I want to know your favorite thing about My Man Godfrey, whether it's something on screen or behind the scenes. If you love these Universal and classic movie deep dives, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. And don't forget, paid members are getting bonus videos, pictures, and more. It's the best way to support Universally Me. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.